Alright lads, so I know that this video is coming out a little bit later than when you guys normally expect my videos to come out, but that is because I had this gut feeling that they weren't actually going to release something right after the live stream ended, and I was kind of right. It looks like we have to wait about 4 more days for Ordeal Call to really actually kick off. We've been having all of these different like pre-release type campaigns where they've been giving us a lot of extra material. They brought out the whole skill point system thing for each of the classes, but we actually are finally going to be kind of swinging into things with Paper Moon being the first official chapter for Ordeal Call, and I'm pretty excited for it. They also went ahead and announced the first of the 3 main servants that we saw on that poster. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's name. Like, I mispronounce names all the time. I'm pretty sure this is Bima, but I'm not going to assume that that's correct. That's my attempt at that. This one, dog, I'm not even gonna try. I don't want to get everybody in the comments being like, all right, bro, here we go. Where's the ZTL pronunciation of this? I don't know. We're gonna call him like Hindu Iskandar or something because of his NP. And speaking of their NPs, we actually do have a hint at what their hits are going to be on their NP. And let's just say that Lisengo might have actually been listening to the complaints of the overabundance of AoE NPs, because it looks like both of these guys are going to be single target. But before we begin, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that sweet daily FGO content. Also, if you want to see me play FGO live, I do that every weekday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my Twitch, which is linked down in the description down below. But with that being said, let's start talking about these new servants, because this is what I care about more than anything, are these guys. Now, again, we don't really have any details for them, but if you do look at the animation for when they were announced on the stream, it does appear that both of these guys are going to be single target, because they only show off one enemy for them to fight. And if you look at the past people that they have revealed when they're AoE, this is Kuko Khan right here. They show that she's going to be fighting 3 Chimera. For Tiamat, we don't actually really get to see the enemy she's fighting, but you do see the 3 damage markers come up with their own individual weak signs. And so that does look like they did have her fight an AoE opponent. And then even for Pope Joan over here, there are numerous enemies. So it does look as though we're going to be getting a single target Lancer and a single target Berserker, which could be pretty nice. I don't know if we're really in the market for needing a new single target Lancer, but when I think of some of the other ones that really are just strong and they come to mind, I think of, say, like Skahawk and Enkidu, and that is both a buster and a quick type servant. So maybe getting another one might be a little bit nice. We don't really need an Arts Lancer because we have Melusine, and I think she's got that locked down, but I don't know, maybe if they want to put out, say, another buster or quick one to kind of compete and be the new version of one of those two, I think that could be pretty sweet. And I mean, they also do different things, right? Like Skahawk is kind of like just big nuclear bomb that you drop on the opponent, whereas Enkidu is kind of the same thing, but he also has a niche into being able to fight divine people and stun and lock them down. So maybe if they wanted to make him more of a consistency guy, right, where the other two do have a couple of issues firing their NPs back to back to back, or at least Enkidu did until they gave him a buff that helped him out with that. But regardless, if they want to make him more of like a spammy type guy, I think we could do something like that, because we already have the spammy arts person, but what if we had like a spammy quick person? I think something like that could be kind of cool, but we'll see what they actually do with him. I mean, this guy looks too hench to just not be a DPS. I'm kind of throwing support and everything out the window, because the dude does not look like he'll be a support. He looks like the guy that you're gonna be pumping the support into so he could do the big numbers. Now, I have no idea about anything about this dude over here. I have no idea about his lore, nothing. Like, I barely even knew how to pronounce his name when it came out. In fact, I'm not sure that I even know how to pronounce his name. So honestly, Zerk, it's kind of hard to mess these guys up, because Berserkers can just attack into everyone. I think the only way that you do mess this up is if you try to make him like Nightingale and be a support Berserker. I don't know if they'll do that, because again, he has a damaging NP over here, so I don't think they're going to do that, but fingers crossed. They might try to do it again, but the fact that he has a damaging NP just leads me to believe that he will be a single target like DPS berserker. And the fact that he's going to be a 4-star does mean that he should be easier to obtain. I am hoping that he's not going to be story locked, because the other really good 4-star single target berserker is Kriemhild over here, but she's actually story locked. But I kind of feel like they're going to need to make this guy pretty solid to compete with someone like Kriemhild, because again, her damage isn't the craziest, but she's got like a 50% battery. She's got damage mods to make up for her damage. She's got a very solid kit is what I'm basically getting at. And so they're going to have to make this guy rather solid as a single target 4-star berserker if they're going to try to draw, you know, get attention away from Kriemhild, or to kind of build up their characters, right? So hopefully, if he is actually a DPS, he'll be at least as good as Kriemhild is, if not maybe even better. And then Bima over here, again, if I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that name correctly, he's going to have some pretty stiff competition here as well, with not that one, and this page over here, because, and it's not like Enkidu and Skyhawk are bad either. Like for old servants, they've gotten pretty good support over the years. But again, that's why I think that he could probably take the Melusine route and become more of a spam NP type of person, because it's going to be really hard to like put out people that are going to do like this much level of damage. Like, because again, this is pretty crazy for going into boss fights, which a lot of them nowadays are going to be those threats against humanities, because we're fighting more of those stronger and stronger opponents. So instead of just making him like a big nuclear bomb like these two, I think taking the approach of someone like Melusine could be a very interesting idea. So, you know, hopefully both of these guys are good. I look forward to reading up on their kits in the next couple of days, but that is not all that we have gotten from the live stream. This is just the servants over here. So next, they announced that they're going to be adding some of the extra classes to our whole class-based buff thing over here. So that's kind of nice. So if you've already kind of gone through and finished all the main classes, then you have more to go ahead and start doing. So that's kind of nice, because I know they didn't initially drop with the initial 7 classes, because I made a joke over on my Twitch while I was streaming that I was like, oh, well, there you go. All the extra class servants are just that much worse now because they're not receiving all these buffs. But no, just had to wait about, what, a week, and then they're like, we're going to add 2 slots for the extra class guys. So that's kind of nice for your extra class servants. They're going to be making them a little bit stronger over here. So make sure you get caught up and you start doing this, because I'm suspecting that whatever the actual event or story chapter is over here, it's probably going to be fairly difficult, because they gave us so many lores, grails, gold foes, just a whole smorgasbord of just different things to buff up our servants. And they're also giving this, it just kind of buffs up a lot of their base stats and everything. I'm expecting whatever is in here to be quite the difficult event or story chapter, whatever you want to call it. So make sure you try to get this done in some capacity, because it does look like this will be a little bit difficult. Then again, to even get up to this point, I do believe you have to be kind of caught up on all of your lost belt things, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it's going to be probably difficult. I'm going to feel like a real big dummy if these are only about as hard as, like, say, a lost belt 2 to 3. So hopefully they do make them a little bit more of a challenge. I don't really want to see a whole lot of RNG fights. Those are the things in FGO that do make me really upset, because, you know, you can't really control a lot of the RNG in some of these fights. So just give me a nice difficult quest to navigate and I'll be happy. Then finally, we have the new craft essences over here, which apparently they're going to be removing Codecast. I pulled it up, and I don't know who really cares about Codecast being removed. It's not really all that great. I mean, this was one of those early game staples that I really liked using, because I was like, oh, dude, my guys are so beefy. But nowadays, there are just kind of better things to crack out. But I guess if you really like Rin, then you may need to make sure that you start summoning, I guess, to get this craft essence. But I think most people do have Codecast, and it looks like they're going to be replaced by some of these CEs over here, which we really can't see what they do. But I'm assuming, say that like one of these, like this Rin one right here, will probably just be like Codecast 2.0, because whenever they do cycle some of the old CEs out, it does appear like they gain some of the other effects that the CE they're replacing did have. But I also like that we have what appears to be some of the Fate Extra people on here, because as a part of the live stream, they had some little teaser trailer thing that did look like we're getting some of the Fate Extra stuff, or something adjacent to Fate Extra. So that also seems pretty interesting. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing where that's going to go. But yeah, that's about all we got from the live stream over here on the JP version of the game. I'm very excited to see what these guys are going to be capable of, especially because it does look like they're both going to be single targets, unless they're just pulling a fast one on us. Unless they're like, no, we only showed you guys one enemy to really make you think they're going to be single target. But again, it wouldn't really fit in line with how they've been demonstrating servants, like how Lysengo themselves has been doing it. As I brought up with like 3 of their past AoE people, they always appear to show numerous enemies, and even Draco, they only showed 1 enemy, and Draco is single target. So it does seem like that's how they're going to indicate how many enemies that these people are going to be targeting. And so I do like the fact that we can kind of see what these guys are going to be able to do, but who knows? For all we know, this guy could be like an offensive support. He could be a Super Orion type character. He could just be Skahawk or Enkidu, right? Who knows? And I'm just super excited for it. I love when new servants are releasing because we get to speculate on what they're going to be able to do. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Would love to hear your theories on all of these guys. And if you are excited for the kind of official actual release of Ordeal Call. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace. Late, guys.